Okay, welcome back. So this is where I'm going to put the phone towards me, and I'm actually going to fill out a wedding card so you kind of have an idea of how we do this, okay? So probably the easiest way to do this is for me to hold this just like that, okay? So again, we talked about the first thing that we do. We're going to put down the bride's name, the groom's name, and the date of the wedding, okay? Then I'm going to get to the meat and potatoes. So whether they registered their wedding online, I'm going to have their info, which if I've already registered online, that's a whole nother step, and I'm going to have their names filled in and their wedding date, okay? Because they already did that online, or they did it at a bridal show. So sometimes some of these are already filled in. But I'm just going to say we're going to do it for the sake of being easy, that this is a wedding that literally just walked in off the street, that didn't know anything and booked that day, okay? So you're going to see as you get doing this that these will all work for any of the above that I just mentioned to you. Sorry for wiggling, but this is how I always start, okay? You're going to get your own niche with weddings. I'm also going to throw that in there. Don't feel like you have to be robotic with what you say, but there are certain key points that you do want to get across. I guess just however you end up learning to say them is up to you, okay? So, the name of the groom. So I'm going to say, okay, what is your name? All right, so he's going to tell me it's Buck Brown. Now, I know this sounds really simple that I'm filling this out, but I'm going to show you why. Okay, so Buck Brown, I'm going to print. I'm not going to do cursive because everybody has a hard time reading that, so you definitely want to make sure that it's something that's legible. And he lives at 102 Barley Street. Pittsburgh, whatever. PA 15107. Okay. Phone number 412 555-1555. Okay. Most of the time now, most of these girls are already living with him. So and say, oh, and what's your name? Are you the bride? What's your name? And so her name is, what did I say? Missy Elliott. So the first thing that I'm going to ask is I'm going to say, Missy, is your address the same as Buck's? Because a lot of times we're already living together. So if it is, you just write same, draw a line down and end it at that line, okay? If she's not and they're living apart, then you're going to write down whatever her address is and whatever her phone number is. So 488-8888. So again, we're going to go into these notes, and this is anything that they might tell you that is going to be pertinent that day. Need to pick up tuxedos on a earlier date because we're going out of town. Looking for burgundy dresses. Anything like that that's kind of special, you can put in these notes, okay? And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the wedding date, and they're going to tell me that it's January 1st of 23. Okay, ceremony is going to be at Hines Chapel. $10 a.m. and I'm making this very special, and we're going to go into this and you'll see why. Rehearsal time. We're going to say this is a Saturday wedding. Okay, Saturday the 1st, January 23rd, Hines Chapel, 10 o'clock. Rehearsal time is usually Friday. It's usually the night before. And let's say that's going to be like dinner time, okay? So, another one of my videos, I talked about the window of time here. So the reason why we get this is because we kind of want to pin down where they're going to be, okay? So if for some reason something doesn't come in right, one of the guys doesn't come in yet from out of town, we kind of have a ballpark idea of where everybody's at if we needed to drop anything off, okay? And so also I'm going to write Saul's Fish and Chips. A classy place. Saul's Fish and Chips in Pittsburgh, Friday at 5 o'clock. Okay? I'm going to make note of that because let's say the rehearsal is an hour and a half away, and let's say the wedding is an hour and a half away. That's going to coincide with what time I tell them to be dressed and ready the day of the wedding. And we'll go into that when we go into the agreements. So the next thing I do is I'm just going to get somebody's email. And basically, this just has to do with any questions, anything like that. So it's just like, you know, whatever. bb@gmail. Okay, so this is another thing, and this is very important. So this is where we talked about the wedding date, and we always have things ready a couple days before. So what I'm going to write on here, the pickups for this are going to start on Thursday, December 30th at 3 o'clock p.m. We always start Thursday at 3, okay? Or Friday the 31st, which is New Year's Eve, but let's just pretend it's not a special day and just, you know, just for like play. It's going to be that Friday, anytime between 1 and 5. Again, hours might be different, but I'm just quoting you winter hours right now. Suit pickup time. We also discussed this in another video, but remember we talked about how the suit pieces are ready for them to come in. Anybody that's buying the suit, again, keyword is buying. If they're renting, they're going to come and pick up Thursday at 3 like everybody else. But if they're buying, their suit is going to be available 3 weeks prior to that. Okay, so let's pretend it was a suit. Actually, let's not. But if it was a suit, you would say pick up 3 weeks. So you go on the calendar, subtract 3 weeks from the first, and that would be the pickup day. We tell them they don't need to call. They can just come in. But it's always on a Saturday. So even if it's a wedding, the 3 weeks puts it on a Friday, or the 3 weeks puts it on a Thursday, they would always pick up Saturday, not the Saturday before their date. It would be the Saturday a day after or 2 days after, if that makes sense. Okay, I just want to clarify. It would always be on a Saturday that these pickups start. Then we also want to make note of the returns. And so this is also really big. If somebody's going to go out of town, anything like that. So just in general, and again, I'm assuming winter hours here. Through the winter, we generally have less hours because it's a little quieter than the spring or summer. So a lot of times we're closed on Sunday. But so I'm just going to say that the returns would be on the next Monday, January 3rd, anytime from 11 to 7. Okay? That's really important because we are also going to take that same information. They're going to say, oh, well, how do I know? How do I know this? Any guy that comes in to get measured is going to get a receipt. So when he comes in, this information, I'm going to flip this over and see where the pickups are at. On this area where it says final fitting and return date, Thursday, December 30th, 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Or what else did I say? Did I say Friday? Yep, they can come in Friday, 12/21, 1 to 5. Then returns would be on Monday, 1/3 from 11 to 7. Okay, this is going to sound really, really silly. But I can't tell you, and this just almost seems like it would be a common sense thing, but you have to specify which Thursday you're talking about, and which Friday you're talking about, and which Monday you're talking about. Because I've literally had people show up 2 weeks before the wedding saying, well, you told me to be here Thursday at 3. Like, no. Okay, so you need to make sure that you mark that date down there. That's also going to be the first thing you're going to check if somebody comes in on a pickup time, that you need to check that to see, oh, Mr. Jones, you're here a little bit early. Try-ons don't start until 3 o'clock. Okay, and there's a way of like getting rid of that phone call that's made to the groom, and we'll go into that. Okay, we'll touch on that in a minute. But this is really important that they get an idea of when it's going to be ready and when it's expected back. Okay, source could be anything from a walk-in, could be a referral, could say Google, could say website. If it's a bridal show, you're going to do bridal show special and which one. So say like, well, say Meadowlands. And that was in 2019. Okay. The consultant. This is super, super important. So if I'm actually the one who the wedding called me on the phone. Hi, we're getting married. I'm like so interested. No, we don't have a file. I'll say, great, let's set you up. Let's set up an appointment. And we looked at the appointment book earlier. Once I write down their name, phone number, I'm going to go to my calendar, set an appointment time for them, right? So I'm technically the first eyeballs that worked with them. Okay, so I'm going to put my name down because I did the work on the phone. This is where commission is really, really important. I'm going to get commission on this because I'm the one who talked to them on the phone and basically got a time for them to come in the store. I was able to get their trust enough to get them curious enough to want in, to come in and see us. Okay, does that make sense? So don't ever discount a phone call. You never ever want to discount a phone call because a phone call is money. And I'm going to say, let's say on the day of the actual wedding appointment, let's say it's not me who handles it, but let's say it's Brad. Okay, Brad sells them the works. He sells them shoes. He sells them the belt and sock package. He sells them suits. If we've got special order stuff, I'm going to get half the commission. And I'm going to say this twice. I'm going to get half the commission on that wedding because I'm the one who originally started it. Okay? So don't ever look at a wedding card like, oh, I'm just going to set it up. No, you talk to them like it's going to be your very own wedding that's going to come in. Because if your name's on it, you're going to get a piece of that pie. Okay? The day of the wedding, let's say I do it. So I'm going to do Andrea and Andrea. So who set the wedding up? Who did the appointment? Man, I'm going to get all the cash and commission. This is a beautiful day, right? But it could be Andrea Brad, it could be Brad Andrea, Brad Bryce. It's just going to be who actually gets it, who does the appointment. But that's very, very important, okay? So I don't go down into this section at all. Next, you're going to see there's prices, and then you're also going to see driver's license, credit card. You're like, oh crap, now it's really going to get meaty. But so for the first thing, and I'm still keeping it, you know, fairly light and friendly, and we can get you whatever you want. So I'm going to, and literally this might seem, I apologize if this seems like very elementary, but I have seen wedding cards be filled out with much less. And so I think it's good just to fill it out how it's explained. Okay, so the first name is Buck, right? Buck's the groom. So we're going to do Buck Brown. And I think, what do we say Buck's date was? If I forget the date, I can come right back and look again. January 1st of 23. But I also want to note if it's a Saturday. Saturday, January 1st, 2023. And obviously, Buck, you're going to be in the groom spot, right? Rarely, occasionally, will you get somebody who says, oh, I've got my own military dress blues. I've got this that I'm going to wear. I've got my own kilt I'm going to wear. So basically, you would just draw a line through this and just note in here has his own, okay? So anything that he needed special, that you could also write that down in the slot. But otherwise, he's basically not getting a tuxedo from us. And the best way to do it is to just write no. No coat, no pant, no shirt. You would write in something if he was getting something. Like, let's say the only thing he didn't have was black and silver cufflinks and studs. And what if he didn't have black tuxedo shoes? So I'm going to write black RC, which is a style, and you're going to learn that. Okay? Maybe that's the only thing that he needs. Okay? But typically what ends up happening is I'm going to say, okay, so we have him. And before we start going through styles, I'm going to get the names of all the guys. So who's your best man? So his best name is Jim Brown. and his groomsman is Charlie Smith. I'm just making all these up. Really important here, make sure you get the spelling right. If they give you a name like Sean, ask if it's S-E-A-N or S-H-A-W-N. Nobody, the people, when they come in and they see their name misspelled, man, I tell you what, it really gets under their skin. So, Rob Jones, Bill Smith. Okay. I'm going to keep it at, so right now, they've got a wedding party of 5, okay? Not really enough yet to get the full discount like what we're going to do with like the groom getting his free. Everybody does get the $40 off special, like what we talked about earlier up front, how it says on the ticket, and we would make sure that we would want to stress that if they were only going to get the 5 tuxes. Let's say they didn't have any dads, they didn't have any ring bearers, anything like that, nobody to throw in. If they were really going to balk about it and be like, well, I don't know, I went to this place and, you know, they said with 5, and, you know, we do guarantee price match plus 10%. So at that point, I would probably make a phone call to Brad or text Brad and say, hey, I've got this wedding coming up. This is what they're going to get. This is what they want. Can I offer the groom maybe half off? They only have 5 guys. So Brad will discuss that with you because, you know, basically we want to make sure that we don't lose the wedding. That's imperative. We do not want to have that wedding walk out the door and not book. And I'm not going to lie, it is rare that a wedding comes in and that will spend all that time with us and not book. I mean, it's happened to me. It's happened to Brad. Occasionally you'll get that person that's just like, well, and this is after they've tried on stuff. I don't know. I think we're just still going to look a little bit. And you're like, wait a minute, I just spent the last hour and a half with you. I special ordered this coat in for you. And that does happen occasionally. The big thing with that is follow up. You want to follow up and maybe overcome any barriers that they have. So if you call them up and, hey, you know, I enjoyed speaking with you last week and I just noticed that, you know, we didn't finalize your wedding. And I'll explain to you what finalize means, okay? And they're like, yeah, well, you know, I was just kind of looking around at others and I was thinking it might be kind of pricey. And so maybe at that point I say, well, let me see what I can do. And I talk to Brad and maybe I can take an extra $5 off on shoes or something. And sometimes that's just enough, okay? So then we book the wedding and I'll tell you how it's actually finalized. But in the meantime, let's pretend they have more people. So they have a 6-year-old, and I want to make sure that he's 5 now, but he's going to be 6 for the wedding date, right? Because there's a huge difference between a kid who's 3 now, they're getting married in a year and a half. Well, he might be close to a size 5, but if I'm thinking he's a boy's 3, then I'm going to be way off, okay? So you want to put down their ages here. So this is Billy Bit. And this one, they have another one. Sammy Son. And then next thing down here is going to be Father the Groom. So that's going to be Mr. Buck Brown. Okay, same name, but I am going to make him different with a Mr. And it's also written in this section. So when I come to his ticket, Mr. Buck Brown is ticket number 8623. So I'm going to do 8623. This is very important. I cannot stress this enough. Cannot stress this enough, and do not skimp, because this is basically hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars that Brad can lose if we don't fill in these completely. And I mean this for single orders. I mean this for every single order that you ever take, including prom. It has to have their name, last name, address, city, state, phone number. I cannot stress that enough. If you take an order for somebody who seems super cool and his name is Daryl and he ran off with a pair of our tie and vest, and you're like, oh, he was a cool guy, he'll bring it back. No, Daryl might not always bring it back. Unfortunately, we've had many of that happen. So when we're filling this out, you fill in the whole thing. This is also key. And I've heard people say, I've done this for many, many years, and so has Brad. Like, oh, well, I was so busy, I didn't have time. Yeah, you do. Even if the guys are trying stuff on in the room, you can always be starting the next guy's card, filling that out with their name and address. So let's just pretend it's him in the store. So what's the groom's last name in the wedding? That's what we're always going to put on this ticket, because heaven forbid, what if I don't? Okay, and this has happened. What if I don't put it who it is? And it's Mr. Buck Brown, and I find it on the floor. What if there's no wedding? What if I never booked Buck's wedding? What if I don't know anything about it? Now I'm gonna have to dig through every wedding file that's underneath my case, okay? And that takes a long time, and that's a real pain in the butt. So the biggest thing that you need to do right then is you're gonna fill out, the event is for the Brown wedding. Brown, I'm gonna put my initials that I measured them. I'm gonna flip this page back over. I still don't know price yet because we haven't gone down that road. But the final fitting, again, this is more for our knowledge up here. This is for our alterations people. All I'm going to write is Thursday at 3. I just need to know what is the soonest deadline I'm going to get it done. I already know if it's ready Thursday at 3, it makes kind of sense that it's going to be ready Friday at 1, right? So if it was already meant to be ready at Thursday, then Friday I'm going to assume is no problem. So I need to put the earliest pickup time there. I also need to write the date of use. And then, really important, first name, last name, address, the whole thing, city, state, zip. Also their phone number, okay? I can't stress that enough. You also want to sorry. You also want to write the day that this was ordered, okay? And I'm going to go into that. So today we're going to say March 5th of 22, okay? When this date really comes into play, not so much on weddings. It's certain times, yes, for weddings, if someone is a really late measurement. So like, let's say they were buying suits and this guy decides he's going to get measured 2 weeks before the wedding, okay? There's a really good chance he might not be buying that suit. And we would need to be straightforward with the bride and the groom and even the customer that, hey, there's a very good possible chance you've come in so late unless we've made other arrangements. Because generally we tell the suit weddings to come in 4 months before. As you can see why. We want to make sure everything's ordered. It's all the same dye lot. I don't know if you're a girl, if you ever ordered a purse or a shirt, or if you're a guy and you ordered a certain pair of pant color, and then you go back and you order it again, and it's not the same shade, even though it says it's the right color, it's a different dye lot. So it's very important we get the measurements in at least 4 months before. Now, can we do it without 4 months? Absolutely. But we do highly recommend doing it 4 months before the wedding date, because literally, if this guy's wedding date is in 2 weeks and he's getting measured right here, there's a good chance that I'm not going to be able to sell him something. Now, can I rent him something? Absolutely. Okay, so this plays into it. This also plays into it when you're looking at proms and you're looking at single orders, because we're going to have special one-of-a-kinds, ties and vests. And what's going to come into play is if I wrote down little Billy is going to Fox Chapel prom, and he came in and got measured on March 5th, Billy's got that if nobody else got it first, okay? So let's say then Sammy comes in 2 weeks after. He can't have it because this kid came in first, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is typically we want, for when the tuxes are getting ordered, we want it written down to where the times, what the styles are. And I'm just going to make these style number up. But again, if you remember on each of those tickets I showed you, it had a C3, C like say C100. And for the pants, P200. So C equals coat, P equals pant. That's fairly easy, okay? I'm going to do, let's say this was the Navy Sebastian. So write Navy Sebastian. And he's also going to wear the Navy Sebastian. Well, first, I'm jumping ahead of myself, and I'm sorry. My brain is, I've been talking a lot. Okay, so let's go back. I've got everybody down here. Now, what do we want them to wear? So now I'm not going to go into details, and I'm just going to show you how you fill the card out, okay? This is assuming, and this is how I do it. I do it with the bride and groom right there, and I actually will talk it out. And when I find that I talk it out, I'll catch myself saying, oh, you didn't want your dad to wear suspenders. That's right, you want your dad to wear a long tie. So if there's any issues, generally you're talking it out with the bride and groom there, it can be found. So let's say Buck, Navy Sebastian he wants, but he also wants everybody in the Navy Sebastian. So I'm going to write Navy Seb. I'm going to take this, and again, remember we talked about that little, like, where does the style go? You're going to draw that down to that line. They end up adding more guys, then you extend that line. Okay? They get rid of Bill Smith. Just leave it the way it is. Okay? We're going to do the pants. It's going to be the matching pants. So you just do M. And again, you're going to take that line and you're going to draw it down. But I'm not going to draw anything down until I have absolutely everything straight. We want everybody... I'm going to make this confusing, just to like throw you off, and this is why. So the shirts, let's say they want to do white wing collar shirts. Not very often, not very common, but I'm going to show you why. So white wing collar shirts for the bridal party. The two little boys, I'm going to say, okay, so you want them in wingtip shirts, and they're going to say yes, white wing collar. Now, do you want the dads in a wingtip shirt? No, my dad's going to be really uncomfortable with that. My dad, we're going to just put him in a white lay down. Okay? Does that make sense? So now we're going to go over here and let's say Buck. I'm just pulling things out of my head. Buck wants to wear the white, and this is the actual style. So I'm going to go in and find... Buck is picking from La Brea because he's got good taste. So we're going to go into Buck's and... yes. Okay. They don't have any... Okay, so Buck is going to go with a white. His lovely bride-to-be is wearing white. He's going to pick this white, and it's not colored mercury. You're going to see the swatch. The name is underneath of it, okay? So if I come, and you're going to see some of them get confusing. There's diamond white, there's ivory. A lot of these look alike. You need to be really careful when you're pulling, especially like when we're doing shirt packs, but that's another video. So Buck wants the white bow tie. So I'm going to say the white Modern Solid, because this is Modern Solid, MS. Number 424, number 424 bow. Then as I'm saying this out loud, you might go, oh no, remember I didn't want a bow tie, I want a long tie. And I'm gonna go, oh, okay, you're right. Get my white out, scratch that out. I can't tell you how many times, because the bride and groom, you're gonna go over this with them. They wanna make sure that it's right. Also, let's just say, I know I got these categories switched. I put that in the vest category, but let's say this is going to be a white Modern Solid number 424 vest. What I will do, if Buck is going to wear the pocket square, matching pocket square, okay? He wants our black Radio City shoes. He does not need belts with his tuxes, but let's say he wants to get all the guys' socks, okay? We want everybody in, even though it's a navy, he's gonna get black. So I'm gonna take this and then I'm gonna say, Buck, do you wanna buy socks for everybody? And he says yes. And so I'm gonna draw this line all the way down to the bottom and I'm gonna do this, okay? Very important, very, very, very important that you follow that all the way down. But what you follow down has to be understandable, okay? You can't have an arrow down and no style written on top. Then I don't know what that is, okay? So let's go back. So when I get to, okay, the groom is done, right? Now, usually they don't have the groomsmen in white, okay? So let's say that they really love this salmon and it is an extra $25 special order, but they love this, okay? So they want the salmon in the vest. So I'm going to do salmon, modern solid, number 444. And this is where I'm going to write bow tie, or I'm going to write a long tie. A long tie is 4H. And that's technically an abbreviation for 4-in-hand tie, okay? Over here, they're going to get the vest. So they want that salmon. They are loving that salmon. S-A-L-M-O-N. Again, make sure that they know this is us. Make sure we know that it's modern solid salmon, number 444. And the pocket square is going to be matching. Everybody is going to wear black and silver cufflinks and studs. So we're going to draw that line all the way down, okay? And we also already decided that everybody is going to do shoes. Now, here's a caveat to that. And sometimes this is what happens. My dad has, like, I don't know, he shot half his foot off in the war, and he can't wear regular shoes, so he needs to have a special shoe. So dad is going to wear his own shoe. So right here on this dad, you would write no, okay? Do you see that shoes went to everybody, stopped at the dad, okay? So let's say if the dad was going to wear another style, you would just write down what style that was, okay? So now I say, okay, well, little Missy and Buck, do you guys want the little boys to be dressed like the groom, which is usual, or do you want them to be dressed like the guys with the salmon? And they're like, oh, that's so cute. We want him like the groom. So, okay, I'm not doing any more salmon. And I also talked to them about why we don't want to put Mr. Buck Brown in salmon, because he doesn't need to match the bridesmaids. He needs to match his wife or his date, or just be very kind of like subtle. So I'm going to, again, take my line. I'm going to arrow it down. So everybody, when you look at this, you know, okay, everybody's wearing this. Everybody's wearing this. Everybody's wearing this pocket square. Okay. So far, so good. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to Billy. And the little boys, they do have tuxes most of the time, though. They're like our Navy peanut butter collection. So I would write Navy PB. Because we do offer a ring bear special, $79.95. So let's say one of the ring bears, they were calling him Sammy. Let's say Sammy was 17, but Billy Bit is 6. Okay, Billy Bit is going to be charged at the $79.95 rate. Even though Sammy's son is considered a ring bearer, he's still 17 years old. He's still priced as an adult, okay? And he would wear the same as what the guys are wearing. So, but for just intensive purposes, we're going to make this that he's 2. And navy peanut butter for both of them. Matching pants for both of them. Again, you can see I just take that line and I just go down. And then suspenders for him. Oh, we want him to look like the groom. Okay, what's a groom wearing? So the groom is wearing, so we want little boy's white, modern solid vest. Draw my arrow down. I want a boy's white, modern solid bow. I'm going to arrow that down. And then technically everybody is going to have the same cufflinks and studs, so we can carry this down. Okay, so far so good. Now Mr. Buck Brown. So there, a lot of times for the dads, they will keep him in the same outfit. So let's say Navy Sebastian. Matching pants. But he's going to wear that white lay-down collar shirt, remember? He's getting a different shirt. He is also going to wear a navy long tie. So let's find, I'm just going to, for sake of navy long tie in here, but his is in special order. So let's say his is navy modern solid 4H number 200. That's just made up, but just for that purpose. So he's going to wear a long tie, and then he is going to wear the navy Modern Solid 4H 200 vest, okay? And he's going to get the matching pocket square. Well, would you give him navy? That's navy on navy. So you have options. You could ask the groom, do you want your dad to look, do you want him to match the mom's gown, or do you want him just to be in navy? This way, when they come in, and it truly is better that they pick the styles that they're going to wear, because you don't want them to compete. And at the end of the day, when they're standing back and they're looking at pictures, it's the bride and groom that are really should be standing out. The rest of the party is just accenting them. Okay, so where we come back to now, at this point, we're like, okay, cool. We have our prices, right? So the navy, how many tuxedos did we rent altogether? We have 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, with a party of 8, the groom does get his tuxedo for free. So the groom, out the door, he gets his tuxedo for free, but he still pays for shoes, sales tax, and damage waiver. So the groom's out the door is $26.70, and this is exactly like how I would say it to them. The groomsmen are getting the same outfit, but check this out, they're also getting that extra special order, right? So I'm going to take, let's say that suit was $199.95. Now, when you come into suit purchase, that's if it's a suit purchase, shoes if they're buying, belts and socks if they're buying. You are going to charge $5 for socks, because remember, they're getting socks. But this is where you're going to add the vest, the tie, the pocket square. And I generally will do it on one line, so $24.95. Okay? Miscellaneous, if you were renting them anything else special. So, like, let's say, what is that, $200, $225, but $230, I'm sorry, $225, $229.95 approximately. Let's say with tax and out the door, their total is $230, okay? The ring bearer, keep in mind, remember we said that Sammy's son, he was like 17 years old. Sammy's son cannot have a $69 or $79 ring bearer special, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say number 12 only. $79.95. And over here I could also write includes Sammy's son. Okay, very, very, very important, because one of the biggest things that they will come back to you on is, hey, you didn't explain this to me in pricing. Hey, I didn't know that those were special ordered. Hey, I didn't know that was going to cost more. So this is really, really, really important that you go through this with them right now. Okay? Now, the dad, he's getting the Navy Sebastian. He's getting a different shirt, but that doesn't cost anything extra. But he's also getting a combination from us that's not special order, right? So here's what I'm going to do for him. His out the door, including shoes, is $199.95. Okay, so now I have the price of the dads. I've got a price of my little ring bearer. I've got a price of the guys, including Sammy and the groom. Okay? So now at this point, what I do, and I will go through then and talk to them about the agreement. And I go into very special detail about this, whether it's a suit purchase agreement or whether it is the wedding. I go into very, very, very technical. So I talk to them about how the outfits are going to be ready 2 days before for the rentals. And when they come in, everybody's going to come in, even the out-of-town guys. They're going to try on their coat and their pant and their shirt, their tie, their vest, or their cufflinks and studs, bow tie, long tie, whatever it is, they're going to try all that on. And it's really important that they understand that, so they know when we also say that there's a tailor here and there will be minor alterations, and we'll take care of them usually while you wait, depending on the number of how many of you guys coming together. So let's say a party of 10 comes in together. Nah, I can't get your alterations out in 30 minutes. That's not realistic. But can we say, hey, can you guys go grab a bite to eat? Did you guys eat yet? Do you guys want to pop back? Or is there somebody that's going to be in the area that can pick them all up? So that's how that is. But if you state it that alterations are normal, that gets their stigma out of their head. Because I tell you what, the worst phone call you're going to hear is the guy who says, oh, well, this is a little tight. This doesn't fit. Next thing you know, he's calling the bride. And then the bride is like on the phone calling us saying, my brother's there and it doesn't fit. Well, you know what? This will just, this just eases a lot of that, okay? So I've got my prices down. I've got my pickup times down. I say what I do, and I just kind of make a joke about this. And I go through the suit purchase agreement and I highlight some things. This basically talks about how we cannot be responsible if they haven't tried the outfit on. And the suits all come with a standard 6-inch drop. And you and I are going to go through that much more in detail because there's more to the suits, and we'll do that on the suit training. If it has to be made from 2 suits, that's a special order suit. It's an additional $40. Alterations other than the hem are going to be the responsibility of the customer. And again, like I said, we'll do this on the suit training. Wedding orders, they're ready 3 weeks before, and we fill in that date on that blank so they know we're going to give them these. Rental items, because they are renting the shirt, and they're going to rent the tie and the pocket square. And if they're renting the shoes, they're also going to be picking those up. But those are all rental pieces, and they pick those up 2 days before the wedding, just like a rental piece. Measurements, we need the measurements at least 4 months before the wedding. And that if we need notice of a suit cancellation at least 4 weeks before the wedding. So let's say somebody, and this happened with COVID, somebody got COVID. It just depends on what the excuse is. But if we've already cut those pants, most of the time they're going to need to buy that suit, okay? We can't be held responsible for garments that don't fit properly. And we can't, if we are not notified at least 2 weeks prior to the wedding or the event. Okay. So here's the big thing in a nutshell with that. You buy a suit. The guy's a big guy, doesn't think about coming in. Like a lot of things that you would think are common sense aren't necessarily common sense to the outside customer because they just assume you have every bit of clothes there. But if he's a big guy, he comes in, he tries it on, it doesn't fit. Now we've got to get a replacement, okay? So we really do need, and that's where we have instruction with the bride and the groom, that it is very imperative that when the suits are ready, the 3 weeks before, that the guys come in and try them on. This way it gives us time to order replacements, and it also gives them time to take it to a tailor and get the sleeve shortened. And because there's fitting issues that goes in with suits, and that's a whole nother training video. But basically on a suit purchase, the only alteration that we are responsible for is the hem, okay? So this will also talk about half of the suit needs to be paid for in full, and when they order the suit, it's $100 down or half down. If it's a tuxedo rental, it's only $20 down. Rental items are due back within 2 days. We may need to finalize completion or changes up to 2 days prior to the event. Okay. Also, 2 weeks. So like, let's say, man, I'm with Buck and Missy and we get everything picked out. And then let's say I had to special order everything for them because that's what this board's about. Okay. All the special order that Buck and Missy just did for the groomsmen, that salmon needs to go up on this board. Okay. But let's say they decide they don't like salmon anymore. Oh God, I love this navy. Absolutely love navy. It's beautiful. Well, okay, now you want to go with navy, but we just special ordered these for you. So if I have 2 weeks before, then I know, there's a good chance that we haven't processed it yet, or if we have ordered it, we can cancel and not be charged money. But in the instance that they charged it and sent it, well, I'm sorry, you can order whatever you want to order, but you're going to pay a rush fee for your new stuff. You're also going to pay for the old stuff. It doesn't trade out. It's not like, oh, we already paid extra for this. What about this? No, it would be 2 additional. Unfortunately, they pay for the first one. They're going to pay for the second one. And that's just the way it is. So getting back to the forms, then what I'm going to do is we also talk about the bride or groom must confirm any changes via email or in person. We do not want people making decisions on the phone. Oh, I really want to change it to the burgundy vest. Okay, what burgundy vest? If you take a look up here, I have a plethora of burgundies, all with different names. And if I pick the wrong burgundy and I put the wrong burgundy down, well, guess whose problem that's going to be? That's going to be my problem, because it doesn't match. The bride and groom are angry. So the bride and groom, we instruct them that they need to come into the store to bring us a little swatch of that fabric, and then we'll match up perfect. We'll match it up. This way it's handled and secure. But if a bride and groom did come in and they wanted to change things, then we'd probably have them sign styles changed on blah, blah, blah. Styles changed to navy blue ties and vests. Like that type of thing. It needs to be written down, and it needs to be at least 2 weeks before the wedding. We also, and I kind of make a joke out of this when I'm talking about it. So I say, ultimately, you know, we go through everything that we're going to do, everything that we're going to provide. But I do explain to them that they become like the designated parents of the party, and that we take a copy of the bride's or groom's driver's license and a credit card, that we would not use it until we would tell them that we needed to. And why would we need to use it? Okay, so we said on here, they're going to pick up Thursday. They need to bring back Monday. I've got all this information. It's supposed to come back Monday. So we give them Monday a grace day. So Tuesday, if they start coming back on Tuesday, now it's technically a $20 a day late fee, right? It doesn't come back Tuesday. So I call them Tuesday night before I close, and I write up here, hey, left message on Tuesday, reminded about bringing it back. Okay, well, let's say it doesn't bring it back Wednesday either, or Thursday, or Friday, and I'm not exaggerating. We've had people have this stuff in their closet at home for like 3-4 weeks, or they don't bring it back. Okay, we will try to call them. Okay, we're going to call them, we're going to call them, we're going to call them. Eventually, though, we're going to get to the point where I call Buck, and I'm like, Buck, hey, I hate to say this, but your dad hasn't brought his tux back. I've been calling and calling every day, and he really needs to get that back to us, or unfortunately, I'm going to have to start charging you for late fees and a possible replacement. That usually gets their heads up. So then they call the person. That will usually get the person to come back in and bring the stuff. But occasionally it doesn't, and occasionally we have to charge this. But that's when we do let them know, okay, do you remember that contract we signed? I am going to charge your credit card X amount of dollars if I don't get that tuxedo back, say, by tonight at 7 or by tomorrow. And usually, once you tell them that they're going to get charged for it, they come back. And $20 a day adds up. You have somebody who it's his and his brother. Say your brother was, you're the groom. His brother is himself, and then he also has a boy. Okay, well, that's $40 right there, just in the 2 outfits that haven't come back. So that can add up really, really quickly. So that's really, really imperative that we get this. And they laugh, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we trust you. You guys aren't going to do anything bad with the card. And I mean, we have had to charge it before, not going to lie. So all outfits go out the door. When they come in to order this, what he's going to do, this is the dad, right? So his total is $199.95. And I know I'm throwing a lot at you in this video, but this is definitely something that you want to go back and review. So I'm going to say, yes, Mr. Brown. Okay. So your son, we're going to have this ready for you. And this is exactly what I tell him. We're going to have this ready for the final fitting. You're going to come in Thursday, December 3rd, anytime between 3 and 7. And usually they're like, oh my God, I'm, oh, I'm not going to be here. I go, okay, well, that's fine. Also Friday. Anytime Friday, whatever it needs. When you come in, we've got a tailor here, and we also have extra stock. So if something doesn't fit, we get you the right one, okay? So Thursday, Friday, even Saturday morning. And then return would be on Monday. And anybody can return those back. We do prefer that they return them to us in their garment bag. We do charge them $5 if they lose the garment bag. But it really, I mean, it's just disrespectful when they bring them back in a bag. And I mean, what are you going to say? But if they are missing that bag or they are missing other pieces, we definitely do charge them. And that's going to be another video. So since he's renting, it's not a suit. If he was renting, he would put down half, which would be $100, and he'd have a balance of $99.95. since he is renting, he can put down $20, or I'm sorry, we put down $40 for a minimum deposit. That is minimum. They can pay whatever else they like, but it has to be a $40 down, okay? And then once we subtract that, their balance when they pick up would be $159.95. Then, very important, he signs this. Very, very important. He's got to sign this. We explain to him when it's ready, when it comes back, total price, okay? Now, this is kind of another thing, but tuxedo not tried on in the store. We talked about that up front, but let's say Mrs. Buck Brown runs in, and she's like, oh my gosh, Buck is playing golf, and there's just no way he's going to be able to get to the store. There's just no possible way. I'm going to take it for him and just hope it fits. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, Mrs. Brown, definitely want to request that you have your husband try this on as soon as he can when he gets home. Try everything on, the shirt, button everything up. If for some reason something doesn't fit well, we are here tonight till, say, 7, or tomorrow we do open up at 11, okay? Very important to give them those times, because if something doesn't fit right, then they can come back in. Then we can make the alteration adjustment to it, and they can take it. Okay, but there's been stranger things that have happened where something was mistagged and they had a 40 regular for a jacket, but let's say they had a 40, or I'm sorry, a 40 regular jacket should have about a 33, 34 inch waist usually that goes with the pants. But let's say he's got a 40 jacket and he's got a pair of 40 pants as well. Okay, that's not going to fit him. So that's when we definitely say you need to have him try this on. Now, if they're like, oh my God, I don't know, he's just never home. I mean, I don't know if he's going to be able to try it on. Okay, so at that point, we do have them sign, we have them initial this waiver that the tuxedo was not tried on in the store, okay? And at that point, we are explaining to them that if something doesn't fit right, we are not going to be held accountable. And that also says that in the bridal agreement. And unfortunately, sometimes we do have to turn that back around and talk to the bride and groom about, they say, oh, well, you said that was going to be, you said that was going to be covered. And I said, yes, but if you remember what you signed on your agreement, that we said it was not, we were not held responsible if it wasn't tried on in the store. And we're not doing that to be mean, but unfortunately, there's just been events that we've had to. So now you have this file, okay? And you just filled in Mr. Buck. And remember how I talked about finalizing a wedding? Well, when you finalize a wedding, it is getting their driver's license number and their expiration date. It's getting the credit card number. It is getting their signature of whoever owns the driver's license or credit card. And then, yes, you have them initial. Yes. The styles and pricings are correct. So they can't go home and go, wait, you didn't tell me that those were extra special. Well, yeah, I did. Remember? Because we had that talk. We've got the special order right here. Oh, okay. I forgot about that. Okay. So that's really, really, really important. So you want to make sure that you cover that, get signatures where you need to. And it might sound silly, but it's really important. So now I booked the wedding. And everybody's left, and I've basically told them, you guys now start coming in to get measured. If it is for a tuxedo, I'd like their measurements in at least a couple months before the wedding. If somebody's trying to lose weight, I mean, really, anybody can get measured anytime. They can get measured a year, 2 years before the wedding. It just kind of depends on, are their measurements going to stay the same? Are they, I know for Brad's measurements have stayed the same for many, many years. But, occasionally, I know for myself, things happen, it changes. So we would want to make sure that if they were in process of losing weight, don't waste your time and measure them. You're better off just measuring them when they come back a couple months before, okay? Once you have this wedding, now you take it back. And if the grid is up, April, May, or June, July, August, September, well, obviously this wedding is January, right? So I can't list it on this board yet. But this just gives Brad an idea of the weddings that we have coming up, and like certain weekends. You'll look at it and go, oh my God, during May, we're going to have, 10 weddings and 6 proms. So, there's a good chance, don't ask for vacation. During that time, it's not going to happen. And speaking of that, there won't be vacation times, that's blackout time, okay? So there's no vacation during April, May, June. It's really up to Brad's discretion. There are sheets in the back that you would fill out and sign, and if it's approved, he'll sign that for you. But there are certain blackout times. It's like Christmas. We can't have you on vacation during our busiest time of year. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this wedding and the date that I booked it, which would be, let's say, March 5th. Buck Brown, Missy Elliott. How did they come in? Okay, they're either bridal show special, they were a referral, the style that they picked out. If they're getting delivered, a Y means yes, we're going to do a delivery, and I'll talk to you about that. An N means no. What other accessories they're using? And since this is a special order, I'm going to write special order accessories in wall. Okay. So the suit styles, accessories, the number used, the used date, the person who booked it, meaning who wrote their name, who took that phone call and caught him on our schedule. Okay, that's me. This is your commission sheet, so don't forget this sheet. This is how you get paid. This is massively important. If you forget nothing, rewrite them on the sheet, because this is how you get paid. So you're going to have either your name as the person who booked it, maybe your name who did it. So you'll see sometimes the person who booked it is the person who does the appointment, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes the person that booked it is not the person who does the appointment. But you guys share commission. So it's definitely worth it for everybody involved. The last thing that I'm going to talk to you about special orders for weddings is we talked about those salmon, right? They're getting salmon. So I need to come up here. Now what I would do, and I kind of picked a weird date because there's no January. So technically I can't put that up here yet. But let's look at some of these, what they look like for May. So May 7th, that's the date of the wedding. Sam Singh, which is the groom. They need a silver mist bow with pocket square, okay? Dustin Mahood. Different things here. So that's where you would take that. I would write it on the date that I need it. And then when Brad sees that, he's going to check off what's already been ordered. So hopefully this makes some sense. I know this was long, but please watch this one again because this video is super important. I just really quick want to also show you an example of what not to do. So you know how we talked about orders. Okay, I don't know the use date, so how do I know when it's late? Okay, I'm kind of at this guy's mercy. I don't even know when he used it, and I don't even know when it's due back. I don't even know what style it is. Like, that's bad. This one is good. Date ordered again is huge. That we really need to get that on there. Another huge no-no is this. Why would you not have an address listed? I don't care just about the phone number even. You need to get their address. You need to get the date ordered. You need to put down when the final fitting is and the return date. Okay? That's a huge one. It doesn't take long, but it's really important that when you have that customer there, that you are filling that out completely.